Looking good, eh? So most tourist people come to the north Rotorua, and there's so many events that you will enjoy if you are here in Rotorua. And one of this is the tour to Rotorua Lake. This is the office where if you're planning to experience the Rotorua deck tours amphibious sightseeing, this is the office. And you can also go to the town center information center, and you can book your ticket there.
Skipper, tour guide. Yep, I can do all those things at once. I'm the man in charge. Yep. Once the road goes wrong, on your own. Get out of here. So before we go, I know you're keen to get going. We just have a couple of safety things first. So this is a World War II original amphibious landing craft, 80 years old. It is 81 in February. So we're on kind of old suspension. It's got all its original parts. So while we're driving, the safest place is always sitting. Yeah. So don't like people swapping seats. Also, the sides are kind of low. Yeah. So if I'm driving around, if I hit a curb or a pedestrian, we don't want people falling out the sides of the duck. Okay. Okay. Not all the drivers in Rotorua as a competent driver as a duck driver. Yeah. Have somebody stop. Yeah. We don't want people falling up on the side. So if we have an emergency on the land, don't panic, just listen to my instructions. We'll secure the duck and you just leave by the exit that you came in. Easy as. If it's on the water, don't panic. Look at it as an opportunity to swim in one of our beautiful lakes. Yeah, not all the duck tour passengers get to swim, so it's a good thing. So if it's on the water, you're gonna need one of these. Yeah, okay. Now the adult life jackets are on the outside. Kids ones are in the middle. Now we say an adult is anybody who's 45 kgs and above. Yeah, we have little infant ones too. Now they're in the plastic. That's because they've never actually been used. That's a good thing. Nice. You can relax, but there's always the first time, isn't it? So they are actually open. We did do that for you because the last thing we want is people trying to open the bag to get their life jackets out. Now I do have to actually demonstrate how to put one of these things on, even though they are incredibly simple. So when they come out of the bag, they'll look like this. What's this say? Front. Where's your front? Then you're going to take this round object and place it in this round hole. Yep. Everybody with me so far? Yep. Then all you do is you take the strap, round your back seat, take the little piece. This is called a gazinta. Why it's called a gazinta? Gazinta there. So once it's on, it's up to you. You can leave the duck any way you want. Bomb dive, cannon dive, swan dive, it's up to you. But if you're waiting around, I'll just simply push you in. Yeah. Now if I say put on a life jacket, we make jokes on the duck all the time. But if I say to you guys, it's time to put on a life jacket, don't panic because our actual safety procedures actually have us putting on life jackets way before it actually things become like imminent. So don't worry, do it nice and slowly. Yeah. Okay. We're always very close to the shore. Yeah. Okay, got it? Okay, now if you had trouble following the instructions, we have a very simple phrase. It's called natural selection. If you can't put one of these on. Okay. The other thing, just be mindful of hanging each other, body parts, children, anything like that out of the side of the duck because we do get close to trees and signs. Yep. Sometimes I look in my rear view mirror and I'll see someone dangling a child out. No, I haven't seen that. But I will see somebody with a hand out tight trying to get a nice shot of the duck or something. Just be mindful. Or you're taking pictures and things. Yep. That's kind of it. Ready to go?
Yep.
Alright, so the last little piece before I forget, seatbelts located under seats. If you could reach under and grab those, that'd be great. Put those on. It's always funny to see though.
Let's go, guys.
It's actually funny though because the New Zealand law, we're actually putting seatbelts on. That's fair enough. But in World War II, after the Atlantic crash, you don't actually need seatbelts. Amazing. So you guys are on the City of Lakes tour. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going down to the more historical part of the city, which is Dublin Gardens, just around the corner. We visit 3 lakes. We splash down on. The one we're visiting is Rotorua. I'll explain why we don't actually go on Rotorua when we get there. Then we'll have a brief sort of stint on the road. We'll cruise by the redwoods to talk about that. And so my job is to try to inform you, give you some history, some knowledge. If you got any questions, you can just of course, I'll do my best to answer. I do have people from Rotorua, so I have to be careful of what I say today. So when I first started, I've only been doing this the last 6 months. So when I first started doing tour guides, the lads, because you get a little nervous. And they said, Ollie, don't worry too much. As long as you say things with enough confidence, people won't believe anything you say. When I get a bunch of people on the look that aren't from Rotorua, I often try to test that theory. You're surprised at what you can say. Now here on the right hand side, it's beautiful Dublin Gardens. Has anybody walking around here? So if you have time and it's beautiful like today, we suggest that you do that. That's absolutely gorgeous here. Now the Dublin Gardens, of course, this was a gift to the people of Rotorua. You've got to go back sometime. That was a gift from the Te Arawa people. The Te Arawa are the first Maori tribe or iwi to settle here in Rotorua. Now when they gifted the land, it was a big deal to them. There was a lot of significant battles that actually taking place right here. Now when they gifted it to the town, it didn't look like this, of course. It was actually just sort of a swamp, a couple of manure trees, hot pools, mud pools, that sort of thing. With a few hundred years of hard work and toil and lots of topsoil, they've turned it into beautiful gardens. Often you'll see the seniors out there playing petanque and croquet. Croquet is actually a traditional Maori game. It started here way back in the 1300s. You guys know that? See? So I said that and everybody believed me. Now this fellow over here, this Maori warrior, he's actually there for a reason. Now Maori men that went off and fight in World War II. So to remember them and commemorate their efforts, he built this beautiful statue, and on the monument behind him are all the names of those soldiers. Now usually we're pointing over here, this beautiful rose garden. Yeah, that hill behind actually where the playground is, guess what they call that? They call it Teletubby Hill. The kids watch Teletubby anymore? Now that beautiful rose garden there is known as Klamath Falls. Now Klamath Falls is actually, Rotorua has a sister city in Oregon, USA. It's called Klamath Falls. It's called Rotorua in Oregon. Now if you go to Oregon, USA, you go to a place called Klamath Falls, you'll see a rose garden just like that one, and they've called it the Rotorua Rose Garden. But what they've done is they've pared it right down, because that's what you do, I think, every now and then with roses. So we got a whole lot of action going on here today. There must be a game on at the event centre. So who's in Rotorua for the first time? No? Yeah. What's the first thing you noticed about our beautiful town?
The smell.
What did you say, the beautiful people? No, the smell. What's it smell like?
Rotten egg.
Smells like what? I'll pretend I didn't hear that. Yeah. Yes, it is. It is the smell. And the smell is sulfur.
Oh.
That's because the entire town sits on top of a geothermal reservoir. What happens is boiling water gets pumped down. It can be mud as well and steam, and the sulfur has a smell. And this is Sulphur Bay. Look at the colour of the water here. It's absolutely beautiful. And that's because in the corner here, there's actually vents underneath the water pumping out boiling water, so this part of the lake can be quite warm in parts. And silica, which is the sandy kind of sediment, sort of suspends itself in the water and you get this beautiful colour. Now what's cool about it is every day, depending on the wind, it moves around this part of the bay. You can get all these different sort of shapes and stuff, it's really neat. So today our wind direction is pushing it down this end a little bit. The old duck whistles. No, not there's worse the goose. No, what happened was we COVID. And then health and safety just like all every tour used to have the duck quackers. Yeah, it's before my time. So it's a shame, but on top of that too, sustainability now is a large part of Rotorua duck tours, and shipping in thousands of plastic duck quackers from China is not really. But the big reason is, yeah, health and safety, we weren't allowed to use them anymore. We're not going on this one, unfortunately. Yeah, there's a couple of reasons. There's 18 lakes in the region. Rotorua Lake is the biggest of the 18, but it's actually the shallowest. It's only about 8 to 10 meters. But that's about once you get out half a kilometer or so. You'd actually have to drive this thing before it floats. There is a bit of a narrow channel within the duck, it's a little tricky. And the other thing with this lake is it has a nasty pollution problem in the form of hornwort. Hornwort's a weed, and then catfish. You see all these signs everywhere about catfish. Catfish love to lay their eggs in hornwort. The risk is if you bring that hornwort and catfish eggs to other lakes, you can pollute the lake. So for those two reasons, at this present time, we don't go into this lake. But we bring you out to see it. It's a beautiful big lake. It's one of the, like that biggest, about 42 kilometers around. The island in the middle is known as McCoy Island. Yeah. The big history around that one. Who's heard of Tutanica and Penny Bone? The beautiful love story in New Zealand. Who hasn't? Oh. Well, the story goes, two people fell in love. They were from two different tribes. Henny Mo was a beautiful princess, daughter of a very, very important chief. They lived on Ofata, which is on the side of the lake here. And Tutanica, his tribe lived on the island. Long story short, they fell in love, but the problem was they couldn't be together because she was an important chief's daughter. He was the son of a chief with much lower. He's like number 10 of the sons. He didn't have enough status to be with them, so they fell in love. Now they had a plan. They needed to be with each other covertly. So they decided to come up with a plan. The plan was that Henny Mo would come down to the shore of the lake. She'd get into one of the canoes in the middle of the night when all the tribe was asleep, and she'd paddle over to the island. Titanic, I said, to make sure you arrive safely and don't get lost on the lake, I will play my beautiful kawowo in the flute. So he will play this beautiful music. I'm going to just hook that on. Yeah, it's on the duck. Don't stop making noise. The idea then was she would make her way over and they'd spend the night together, and then she'd make her way back and nobody would advise her. Yeah, when the day happened, she'd get down to the shore and all the canoes would be pulled up high on the shore. Because her dad, the chief, he was suspicious. He had an inkling that she might make a break for the island. He wasn't having it. He got his men to pull the canoes up on the shore. But she was in love and she was determined. So the next day, when everybody was asleep, she grabbed 4 gourds, which are like bottles. Yep. Brought them down to the shore, tied them to herself using like reeds and things, like a buoyancy device, stripped off into her birthday suit, and swam 3.5 kilometers in the dark, cold, wet waters in Rotorua to be with Titanica. Story says it actually took her several hours to get there because she got caught in winds and currents. When she finally got there, Titanica wasn't there. He'd been playing his kawowo 2 days straight, no sign of Henny Mo. You gotta remember there was no like text messages or DM to say I'm going to be late. So he'd actually gone back to the village. The way it goes then is she gets into a hot pool to warm herself up, and to make it happen, a servant comes down to fetch water for Titanica. She calls out the man's voice, "Who's that?" She realizes it's not him. She demands the water from the servant, who reluctantly gives it to her. She then drinks it because she's thirsty, and then she smashes the cup on the rock. This is her plan. She knows that Titanic Eye has a temper. So the servant goes back to Titanic Eye and tells him there's a stranger in his hot pool by the thing. Drank your water and then smashed your cup. So he's mad. Grabs his cloak and his war spear, charges down to the shore, demands to know who this person is. Of course, she hears his voice and then she steps out of the hot pool. Of course, his anger dissipates straight away. He's overcome with love and takes her back to the village. Next day, they come down arm in arm. People can't believe it. At first, there's nearly war between the two tribes, but then eventually, when the parents see how happy they were, their hearts softened and they allowed them to live together. It's a nice little story. So the question we always have, at least I do, is romance is still alive. Do people, anybody on the duck, is there anybody that is still prepared to swim 3.5 kilometers in a cold dark lake wearing nothing but what you were born in, just to be with the person that you love? Definitely. I got my hand up. Poor Titanic Eye. Are you saying you just leave him there playing with the scroll? Poor fella. We have Titanic Eye Street. Have you heard of that street in town? That runs right down. Each street's at the end of it. And we have Penny Moa Street that actually runs right across. Where those two streets intersect is actually known as the heart of our town. There's a number of streets that come off those streets. They're actually named after the children. It's quite a long and happy life for many children. Unfortunately, then when they passed away, they did what was customary, is that you get buried with your tribe. Penny Moa is actually buried out in the Green Lake. And Titanic Eye is buried over in the house on the other side. You see that once they passed into the next life, they joined their soul. That's ever since. The geothermal stuff. But the bird, they use it to their advantage. So what they do is they actually build their nests over there in the corner. Also, Sulphur Bay is actually really dangerous. You actually shouldn't be walking around. This part here is kind of okay, but there's a lot of Sulphur Bay where the surface isn't as sort of solid as you might think. There is a risk that if you step in the wrong places, you could fall into boiling mud or water. So for that reason, people don't tend to go around there. And again, that's why the birds can be there undisturbed. We're just coming around the back of the event centre on the left-hand side. These are all manuka trees, by the way, just in case some of you haven't seen manuka trees. You've heard of the honey, the manuka honey. So it's these trees, it's actually the flowers that bloom on these trees, the honey that the bees then come along and do their thing. I think our manuka trees would actually be very good for baking. Here. The earthquakes Christchurch, Kaikoura. We had one a couple of years ago. It was about 7.6 just off the coast here. So there's a number of buildings throughout New Zealand that have been kind of shook, and also they're not safe to be in. Now this was actually supposed to be finished. They were hoping to have it up to code this year, but now they're pushing it back to 2025. Unfortunately, it could be longer. Because they reckon it's going to cost about 90 million. Now the museum didn't start off its life as a museum though, so the entire city of Rotorua was actually established really for one reason, and that was to bring in money in this form of tourism. And how were they going to get tourism in here? They were going to take advantage of the geothermal reservoir underneath the city. It was popular in other parts of the world for people to soak in volcanic mud pools and all this. They said we have it right here. So they built this beautiful bathhouse, 1904. I think it took about 4 years to build, so back then it was a huge undertaking. They picked this particular style, the Victorian Tudor style, because that was fashionable on the Northern Hemisphere. They were exactly the people that they wanted. So on the ground floor they would have these mud baths. They also then mineral baths. Yeah, and then you had accommodation where people could stay and eat. And people would come here just to sort of convalesce, get over illnesses and things. They're well renowned for, it's documented, was treating arthritis. Yeah, anybody suffering with the old arthritis? Not yet. So the way they'd work is you'd come in here, you'd start your treatment off with some massages, because they had masseuses from around the world too. Yeah. Then they put you in beautiful boiling mud, not boiling mud, hot mud. Be covered from head to toe in mud except for the white of your eyes. You might do a few of those, and then rinse you off, put you in these beautiful, pristine, clear mineral baths. You just all that aches and pains just soak away. And then to finish off the treatment, right at the end, a gentleman in a white jacket would come in. Big smile on his face. Ask you how you're doing. Of course, you feel fantastic. And then to finish off your treatment, he would take the 2 electric cables he has in his hands, and he would place them into the bath with you. Straight up. Electricity. They were treating arthritis with electricity. So small shocks. They didn't realize the potential hazards and risks. They actually thought they were on the cutting edge of medicine. And if you go into the when it's open, some of the original baths in there, and you will see guys with white jackets and big smiles on their faces. Yes. New Zealand actually thinks that fixed arthritis. Yeah, they do. So I think it's funny. They reckon they cured it because under their sort of interpretation is that they treated thousands of people over years, and nobody ever had to come back for another treatment. Would you come back for one of those treatments? You would? Electricity? The bath?
Yes.
Baby body came near the party. They say they had so much fun, nobody took care of the place. So when the lease was up in the 90s, they closed down and the city took it on as a museum. Here we go, here's our seniors playing the traditional Maori game. This is Whangapapiro. That's what the spring is named. Now Whangapapiro has a translation. It translates to the evil smelling place. Yeah, no wisecracks, it has nothing to do with the public toilets. Hold on. Take a picture of our local. Hello, sir. Yeah, that's the sulphur. So that's why they called it that. Yeah. Now this particular spring, it's about 100 degrees Celsius or 212 degrees Fahrenheit right at the top, so it gets a little hotter as you go down. Now there's a pipe in the middle. Originally would have piped water over to, that's how they got the water from underneath the reservoir. At the moment now it's going over to the Polynesian spot. Maori found out very, very quickly you can't swim in this one. This is not the best pool to have a bath in, a little bit too hot. But you could put food in a basket, lower it down and it'll be cooked, so they could put fish or eggs or vegetables, whatever they had at the time, 15-20 minutes cooked. You can actually still get meals like that cooked traditionally if you go to like Tapuia or Mai Tai, which you get your cultural experiences. It's also known as Rachel's Spring. Yeah. Rachel was a cosmetologist from the UK. She found out very quickly, or knew about the nutrients and minerals in the water are really good for your skin, make people feel better, look better. So she found a pool over there. Guess what she called her pool? Rachel's pool. That was the habit of the English back in the day. They just travel around just claiming things as their own. Yeah. So you would pay her money. She would let you sit in her hot pool. The more money you paid her, the longer you could sit in there. And of course, the longer you sat in there, the way it went was that obviously the more beautiful and youthful you came out. Which is, I think, is still the same marketing strategy that cosmetics use today. Again, you can see the beautiful colour there caused by the sulphur. This is another great activity to do, even for the kids. Last entry is actually at 10 o'clock at night, so it's quite nice. So that's our little city part. We're going to get onto the highway now in a minute. Is everybody okay with the blinds and stuff? Yeah, so we can get a little breezy as we head down the highway. So that's our little city part. We're going to get onto the highway now in a minute. Is everybody okay with the blinds and stuff? Yeah, so we can get a little breezy as we head down the highway. about another 19,000 of these, 21,000 ducks in operation. All of them built pretty much from the GMC trucks. Now there's supposed to be less than 1,000 left in the entire world. Rotorua Duck Tours has 2, actually 3. The third one is in the shed being built up. And these ones are originals, the real deal. There's a lot of ducks out there that are just kind of like boats with wheels. This is the real thing. This was actually in World War II. This thing saw action. And it's the only place in New Zealand where you can do this. Oh, we might just have to wait. New Zealand Navy's out doing drills. See them in their kayak? Tough crowd. Beep beep! Alright, does everybody remember how to put your life jackets on?
Yep.
Okay. I always get a little nervous. So you won't mind if I put on some relaxing music? Just so it keeps me calm? Now this lake is different. It's got pumice and rhyolite at the bottom. So pumice and rhyolite can't attach very well, and also it's reflective. So when you get a beautiful blue sky on top, one of those summer ones that's really strong, what happens is the blue will touch the bottom of the lake and reflect back into sort of a blue colour. But when the sky is like today and there's a few clouds, what happens is the greenery around the lake kind of takes over and we get more of a green look. Why there's 7 lakes in such a small space is that you got to imagine this is the Okatainen caldera. So 600 odd thousand years ago, it's a huge explosion, caldera, yeah, all settles down into this massive bowl. And then what happens? There continues to be smaller eruptions inside the bowl. What happens is it blows a hole in the earth inside this big volcano, like this one, fills with rainwater, and you get a lake. The other way the lakes are formed, like Tarawera, which is over there, is that lava spills out of Mount Tarawera, closes off the end of the valley, and then the valley fills with water, you get a lake. That's why there's so many in such a small space. So it's about 5.5 kilometers around this one. It's about 27 meters deep. They say the water in this lake is 3 meters. Now the lake has another name. It goes by the name of Tiki Tapu. Now Tiki Tapu means the sacred necklace. Now the Tuhorangi tribe, they were a sub-tribe of the Tiarawa. So some of the Tiarawa went exploring again. They came out here and they just went, wow, this place is awesome. I'm going to live here. So they set up a sub-tribe, Tuhorangi, named after Chief Tuhorangi. And they had a village here on the island. And this particular village had a necklace. It was the most priceless, valuable thing that the village owned. Now the story goes that Chief Tuhorangi had a daughter. Yeah. We don't know what age she was, but maybe teenage years, you know, that year where they're a little bit difficult. And then she decides she's going to put on a necklace. This necklace, the most prized, valuable possession of the village. That's okay. Then she says, oh, I think I'll go for a swim. But I'll leave the necklace on. So when she gets into the beautiful water, she's swimming around, having a great time. Panics, right? She just the necklace. All the way down to the bottom it goes. The story goes, she tried to get it, couldn't. All the tribes then went and looked for it, they searched everywhere, they dived down, spent the whole day doing it, they can't find it. So to this day, the necklace is at the bottom of the lake. That really is called lake. Now tapu is a word that means sacred. It's much more than that in Maori culture. Now they say the Tuhorangi tribe, they say if anybody just happens to come across it, we would like it back. And to help with motivating you to do so, we'll give you $150,000 for a priceless necklace. But other people will say, no, it has to stay where it is. The reason why that is because this is tapu. That tapu or sacredness is actually bounded with the lake. So they're both sacred. And to remove the necklace now would be a bad idea. And tapu in Maori culture was heavily ruled. So people of status like chiefs, gods, if they wanted something to be endeared to the go or things like that, they just said it was taboo. So you respected it. And the penalty for breaking taboo often meant sickness and death for you and your entire family. In fact, Maori people thought that when people got sick for no reason, they thought somehow they disrespected the gods by breaking taboo. And this lake has another story. It's got one of the Tanifa. Who's heard of Tanifa? I prefer this story. So this lake had a Tanifa. The Tanifa are mystical, but some people don't still believe that there's Tanifa out there. They guard the waterways, but you can have Tanifa, they guard out in woods and everywhere. And the ones that live in the waterways, especially inland, can look like lizards or combinations of those. And the one that lived with this lake, his name was Kata Ori, like a giant Tuatara, a big lizard with a long tail. And the story goes, at first he actually got on pretty well with the tribe. The next one actually kicked them out. They got in trouble on the water, bring them back safely to shore. As he got older though, he got a little bit more mischievous. He actually started to develop a taste for travellers, lone travellers that got too close to the shore. Where you might have come from a different part of the country, come down for a drink or go down. Kata Ori would spot you through the clear waters, sneak up behind you, grab you, pull you down to the bottom of the lake. You'd never be seen again. Now at first the Tuhorangi tribe were like, we don't like strangers anyway. Maybe it's not a bad thing. Until one day, Kata Ori took it too far. Chief Tuhorangi's daughter on the way to get married. Yeah, out comes Kata Ori. Grabs him, pulls him down to the bottom of the lake. Never seen him again. Of course the tribe and furiously men search high, wide, low for Kata Ori. They find the Taliban is layer up the top. They've got to get a tohunga, which is like a local spiritual guide or priest. He used chant to almost hypnotize the creature. And when it came out, that's when they slayed him. And to make sure he was dead, they sliced him, took out his heart. That's the tribe. That was the end of the poor Kata Ori. Some are good, some not so good. So on a lighter note, though, there's a famous Tanifa that actually went exploring the world, left New Zealand, went travelling. Then he had many adventures, and when he got old, he decided to retire. Yep. He actually found himself a nice little spot in Europe. Yeah, a little lake in Scotland, actually. A apparently he's still there to this day. Canning next because and we come out the lake, it's in reverse. So the wheels are actually now turning. We'll approach the ramp. Once we get sort of close to the ramp, I actually pull off the propeller. The duck will carry moving forward under its own weight. There's actually one out here that has a jacuzzi on. If you have a lot of money, that's the kind of thing you can do. The way away. So see at 11 o'clock, see that bird swimming away from us with the back, the white backside? Yeah. That's a way away. That's a beautiful drink. Can you see it? See the little birds there now? You still can't see it? Over here, the bird right there. See it floating? Got it? Fills the horn work, and then divers come along every now and then, they'll swim along and they'll clean all the weed off the net. So unfortunately, not everybody checks. People don't check. So every now and then, we see them all the time. The marine police, they come down and they go from lake to lake, and if they see you're not checking your hull, you can be fined. Well, so yeah, so it stops it getting out into the main part of the lake. So it traps it down this end, and then they can get rid of it. Also, the marine police will be making sure that people are sticking to the 5 knot mark. You can actually get heavily fined for speeding. Other things like not wearing your life jacket. You can actually launch from here, but the thing is you've got to do 5 knots all the way out to the markers out in the distance. Kind of running from the end of the peninsula across to the shore. All inside here is 5 knots. Once you're out into the open part of the lake, you go for it. There is a launch site further around that you can actually just... When I get up here on the car park, guys, we'll let everybody out. You got like 5 minutes or so. You can use the bathroom, stretch your legs, get a photo. Guys, nice little thing.
Look, Lincoln, it's coming, look. Look, there it is. Come say hi. Should we go pet the duck? Oh, look, it's coming, Lincoln. Look, it's coming.
my parents to the hospital. And the very village of Tiwairoa was completely buried. Now, Rotorua, actually managed to actually escalate or at least dig out a lot of time. Some say the mountain erupted because the gods were angered by how Maori or people bringing out that whole picture and had turned the